So in this exercise, we're told 20% of the application received for a particular position are rejected. And we're asked, what is the probability that among the next 14 applications, none will be rejected? So for binomial distribution, we need the formula. And that formula is p of x, or f of x, equals to n factorial divided by n minus x factorial times p to the x power times q to the n minus x power. So we'll use the information that we have here to plug it into the formula. So we know that we're told that we want the probability that among the next 14 applications. So you want to find n. So what would be our n factorial? The n here is the number of trials. And in this case, we're told that we want to know the probability that's among the next 14 applications. So right there, we know n is 14. So we're asked to find x now. So in A, we're giving a little hint here. None will be rejected. None means 0. So in this case, our x will be 0. So we already have the information that we need. But what is our p? P is the probability of getting a success in one trial. So the probability here is 20%. What is that 20%? So 20% would be 0.2. Okay? And then we need to find Q. Well, what is Q? So Q is the probability of getting a failure in one trial. So one trial would be 1 minus P. So we already given P, which is 0.2. So 1 minus 0.2 would be 0.8. So let's put all of this information that we've gathered into the formula and then work it on. So we put P of x, which is 0. That is our beginning. And our n factorial is 14 factorial over n, which is 14 minus our x, which is 0 factorial. And then we have 0 factorial because x is also in the formula, which is 0, times p. So we know p is given as 0.2. That raised to the x power. So our x is 0. Then we times that by our q to the n minus x power. So we already find for q, which is 0.8. How did we get that? We take 1, which is one trial, minus the probability that we know of the desired success in one trial, which is 0.2. So 1 minus 0.2 will give us 0.8. It's that simple. Then we have to do n minus x, as it's stated here in the formula, n minus x. So what is n minus x? N minus x is 14 minus 0, which would give us 14. There we go. That's the fun part. Now, let's break this down. I mean, you could put this into a calculator and get an answer. But if you really want to know how you come up with an answer, we're going to break it up into little terms. So what is 14 factorial? Before we go to 14 factorial, what would 1 factorial mean? It would be 1. What about 3 factorial? What is 3 factorial? It would be 3 times 2 times 1. 4 factorial would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. I mean, if you could understand what I'm saying. So 14 factorial will not be any difference. So we'll be having 14 times 13 times 12, and we can go all the way down up to 1 factorial. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put 3 dots, and then I'm going to go 3 times 2 times 1. These 3 dots represent 14 to 1. All divided by and we repeat the same process here. And then, so what is 0 factorial? We know 1 factorial is 1. 0 factorial is also 1 because 0 chance of not getting it. That is an option. So 1. So we have 1 here. Now we include this. So you could either work this out into the calculator and put it here, but for me not to get confused, I'd rather work this part all the way to the end. I'll show you why. So I'm going to put back 0.2 raised to the 0 power, 0.8 raised to the 14 power. I know some people get confused of asking, how did you get the 0.8? The 0.8 represents our P, and in order to find P, which is the probability of getting a failure in a trial, so we put 1 minus P. That equals to Q. Always remember that, 1 minus P. Okay, let's work this down. So here we're canceling off. So we have 14 and we have 14 at the bottom. So everything cancel off all the way to 1. What are we left with? We're left with this, right? So this will equal, so if you put this into your calculator, 0.2 raised to the 0 power, and then you have 0.8 raised to the 14 power, that equals to 0.04. Or we can say that is 4%. Hope it's getting into the camera. So we know none will be rejected. How much? 4%. That would be 4. So A is 4%, or 0.04. For B, we're asked, we need to find the probability that less than 2 application will be rejected. To go about that, we have to find for 1, X. 1 is more than X. So put X equals to 1. That is our P of X or F of X. Can you see that? Yeah. Just want to make sure it's in the camera. So we're using the same formula again. So our N is 14 factorial, but this time we're not using the 0 because our X is 1. So we put 14, we substitute the 0 and we put 1 because we're finding for less than 2. In this case we are finding for none. We put 1 factorial, and our X factorial would be 1 as well. All of this remains the same, 0.2 because it's binomial, nothing changes here. 0.8. So 14 minus 1 give us 13. So we raise this to the 13th power. So to break this down, you could either put this in your calculator or you break it down the way I'm going to do it here. So we put 14 factorial, 13, 12, 3, 2, 1. These mean 14 times 13 times 12 times 11 and all the way down to 1. So this gives us 14 minus 1 is 13 factorial. So 13, 12, 3, 2, 1. And 1 factorial remains as 1 factorial, just 1. We're going to bring this back over here, times 0.2, and we're raising it to, oh, I'm sorry, it's not 0. It's 1. Because whatever's in here, we substituted it into the formula. I just made a mistake. So 0.2 is raised to the 1 power, 0.8 raised to 13 power. Now we want to simplify this. So to go about doing so, we look for everything that's alike and we just remove it out. So we get 13 with 13, 12, 12, all of these similar, everything same, out of the way. We're left with 14 on this, so this equals to 14 times 0.2 to the first power, 0.8 to the 13 power. That equates to, let's see, 0.153. But we're not done yet, because we're asked for less than 2. So to find less than 2, we already got none. For 0 is this. So let's draw this box. 14 factorial means we're counting stuff. It means it's going to have 15 stuff inside. So we start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And everyone have their own box or cell. So we're looking for anything that is less than 2. So less than 2 mean this 2 cell. So what we're going to do, we're going to add this 2 cell to tell us that is everything that is less than 2. So we already found for 0. So our 0, x equals 0 means 0.04. So we put this plus 0.04. So less than 2 will be rejected mean, when you add this 2 in the calculator, you get 0.19. 0.19. Okay, just having trouble getting this shown into the camera. Okay, C. What is the probability that among the next 14 applications, more than 3 will be rejected? In this case, we were asked for less than 2. This is more than 3. So we already find x equals 0, x equals 1. So we have to find x equals 2. P of x or f of x. So does the number of applicants change? No. In this case, it didn't. It's the same 14. So we'll use 14 factorial. But our x value changed. So our n remains 14. Subtract 2 factorial by x, which is also 2 factorial. In this case, we're raising it to the second power, 0.8. Get that? Now we have to simplify this. We're doing the same thing. 14, 13. So 14 minus 2, that gave us 12. That is how we got this 12, is 14 minus 2. So in the bottom, we're going to put down just 12 factorial. So that would give us 12, 3, 2, 1. So that we don't get confused. 2 factorial is 2 times 1. This remain here, 0.2. I mean, you could simplify this as well, but I just don't do it because I normally get confused. It's just my way of doing it. It's up to you if you would like to simplify it all at the same time. But I'm doing it this way so that people who have a hard time in understanding it, you're able to understand why. I mean, in simpler terms. That's the best I could say. So we have 12 factorial at the bottom here. So we're going to cancel off everything from 12 all the way down to 1. So from 12 all the way down, 12. So what's remained here? We remain with 14 and 13, 2 and 1. But we can go a little bit farther down. We can simplify this a little bit more. So in this case, we have 2 and 1. So 2 can go into 14, 7, 2 ones, 2, 7 is 14. Then we calculate that, and we get, this part, just get this one out of the way. Okay. And this, when you put this into your calculator, you should be able to get 0.25. Okay. So now we have to find that x is more than 3. P of x more than 3. And we do the same cancellation. Everything from 11 all the way down to 1. So we remain with 3, 2, and 1, 14, 13, and 12. So we're going to simplify this a bit more. 3, 4, 1, 2, 7. So in this case, we have 7 times 13 times 4, which is 7, 13, and 4 with all of these. This will always come in the way, okay? When you multiply this, you should be able to get 7 times 4 times 13. this is just the simpler way for you to understand. I mean, you could have eliminated all of this if you understand how we got the 7, the 13, and the 4. But if you're a newbie and you really want to understand each step, this is why I'm doing it this way. But if you grasp on it really fast, like for me, I wouldn't have to go through all of this step. I would probably finish right here, and I got my answer. But I'm just simplifying it into simpler terms, because sometimes I know when I teach it to other people, they were like, oh, so how did you get the 7? Wait, where did you get the 4? Wait, why did you cancel that? So this is just showing you in more detailed step as to how did I get to this, how did I get to the 364. Okay, so when you put all of this into the calculator, you should get 0.25 as well. Now, to answer the question, what we have to do is to add everything that we know so far. So all got this, we got this, we got this, and we got this. So, I don't know, can you see that part? Answer would be 1 minus everything, which is our 0.04 plus 0.153 plus 0.25 plus 0.25. Punch that into your calculator, and you should be able to get 0.3, or we should say 30%. So to answer the question now, what is the probability that among the next 14 applicants, more than 3 will be rejected? 30% or 0.3. So the last question asks, determine the expected number of rejected application and its variance. To find that, we know our n is 14. Our probability is 0.20, or you could say, or 0.2. We know that because it tells us in the beginning 20% of the application. So that is our P. And to find the expected number, so we have E of X is equals to N times P, which will be 14 times 0.s, and that will give us 2.8. Can you see that? Voila, we did it. Bye. Okay.